I was thinking last night, if only we had Barack Obama or John Brennan around to call up these guys and warn them about the consequences of meddling in elections. Obama said he told Putin to cut it out, and Brennan said yesterday that he told the Russians to stop it. Meddling in our elections. Too bad these guys have never called terrorists and told them to stop meddling in elections, because that's who really is meddling in elections. In the UK and in France. And there is far more evidence of ISIS doing election meddling than there is of Russia. The Russian meddling, by the way, has now been reduced to charges of Russian online trolls retweeting questionable stories about Hillary. They're slowly distancing themselves from the narrative that the Russians colluded with Trump and that the Russians hacked the election. They're trying to and you'll hear it's even worse than I thought yesterday in terms of the fringe lunatic base of Democrat voters really having bought into all this and believing that, in fact, Al Franken had to go on TV or somewhere and tell his supporters that Trump will not be impeached this month. Trump will not be impeached this month. He had to back them off. They have been expecting Trump to be impeached ever since it was announced that Comey was going to go up there and testify, which has also been delayed. Now, speaking of our vaunted intelligence services, did you hear Obama's CIA director, John Brennan, yesterday told a House committee that he was concerned that the Russians might be able to turn some of Trump's people. In other words, corrupt them and convert them into spies for the Russian Federation. And that's why, Brennan said, the CIA and the NSA had to monitor them. Now, this is, to me, this is new. This is Brennan, this is the Obama administration suggesting they were worried the Russians were going to convert a bunch of dim-witted Trump associates into spies, and therefore so worried about that they had to start monitoring everybody in case that had happened. Who are we talking about here that the Russians might turn? One of them is a United States general who was the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency. That would be Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn was also an advisor to Obama. And we're talking about Carter Page, a Naval Academy graduate who is an associate of Trump way, way out in the periphery. Those are the two people that Brennan said the Obama administration was worried the Russians might turn and convert into spies. This is the same John Brennan who voted for the Communist Party candidate for president in 1976, Gus Hall. You know what it sounds like to me, folks? And I have a break coming up, but I'm going to expand on all. It sounds to me, when you read between the lines of what Brennan was saying in these past couple of days, it sounds to me like that Brennan acknowledged they were spying on the Trump campaign and individuals in it. I think that's the story, that's the news, and the unmasking of people that they were spying on. This is not about the Russians. This is about Obama's administration spying on Trump starting last July, and all of this is a giant construct to deflect attention from what was happening at the Obama administration to make everybody focus on what the Russians were supposedly doing. Take a break here and be right back. Don't go. Half my brain tied behind my back just to make it fair. Rush Limbaugh, your guiding light. You hear yesterday there was all the double talk that Brennan was using, said that there was no evidence of any collusion, but there was a basis to start a CIA FBI investigation. Now, what would the basis be if there's no evidence? There's no evidence, but there was a basis. No evidence. He's just the latest in a long line of officials in the intelligence community in Congress The Obama administration say no evidence of collusion, Trump Russians, no evidence Russians tampered with votes. But there was a basis to start an investigation. Do you know what it was? You know what it was? Trump's joke. When Trump said, put out a call, hey, Russia, maybe you can find 30,000 emails that Hillary Clinton can't find it. Nobody. That joke, I kid you not, that joke and the dossier that was totally made up, like Trump hiring prostitutes to urinate on the bed that Obama slept in Moscow. Those two things are the bases to start all of this. Trump telling a joke. I've told you the left has no sense of humor, and they don't. And I've seen it 1,000 times. People on the left really believe that Trump was sending a message to the Russians to hack Hillary's server. We're way past that when this happened. Hillary had already done something with 60,000 of her emails, 30,000 turned over to State Department, 30,000 deleted. She said they were irrelevant, but they were somewhere. Kim.com was saying he had them or could get them. Everybody was wondering where they were. Trump, at a press conference, made a joke, a typical Trump joke. Hey, Russia, maybe. It's the kind of thing I laughed myself silly. That is one of the bases for starting this whole cockamamie thing. By the way, all these leaks of Trump phone calls, why aren't there any leaks of Trump phone calls in collusion with Russia?